Welcome back. I'm playing Warhammer 40,000 Gladius, and when I was doing the Ultima DLC release, people were asking me to also put together my thoughts on the other DLC, on which ones I'd recommend and which ones I wouldn't. And what I realized is I didn't purchase the Demolition Pack until I purchased the Ultima Founding, because I thought that was its own faction and not just bonus units for the Space Marines there. And so, to be able to give some experience on the Demolition Pack units, I figured I could play as the Space Marines, because that gives you access to some Terminators, and then there also is the Scorpion that was available with another DLC, and I don't think I actually ever used it. I've certainly played against the AI, which is using those units, and they're crazy good, but I don't have first-hand experience, so I figured I'd go back through, play a campaign real quick on the Impossible difficulty here, and kind of our standard settings. We'll just do a free-for-all match, and that'll give me a little more experience with the Chaos Space Marines, and then hopefully I can provide more accurate recommendations on the DLC, and I'll have that released for you guys too, since people were asking for that. So kind of the background for these Chaos Space Marines here is they do tend to have a little bit of a harder start, and I agree with that because your units are pretty expensive, but if you can end up getting them leveled up and start causing mutations and things like that, they can become quite powerful, but it can also be quite frustrating because they can end up getting killed pretty easily, and you definitely have to get through several levels to be able to get to kind of your stronger units. But the big thing is they have Chaos Cultists. So these are your cheap infantry. They're easily able to get killed. You've seen those with like the neutral armies that move around. They're also used to found cities, and then you can also sacrifice them to help with the rituals and increase the city growth. So that's kind of a unique faction here. They also have access to unholy rites, which allows you to sacrifice the city population to the dark gods to grant temporary economic boosts depending on which god you sacrifice. So early on, it's not something you'll be using very much because you'll want to be getting your population higher. But then later, kind of mid to late game, you'll be using it all the time to try to get those population, you're willing to sacrifice some population for some economic boost, and that can work out to be quite significant amounts for you, if I remember correctly. You also have a chance of getting the Boons of Chaos, so whenever one of your units kills an enemy, there's a chance that it'll get a permanent stat increase. And likewise, when you end up using these guys and you get a kill, instead of doing the Boons of Chaos, there's a chance that it could just transform into Chaos Spawn, or using the Dark Apotheosis here, it could turn into a Demon Prince. So that can be huge early on if you have some weak infantry, and then all of a sudden they get turned into a Demon Prince, and you got this hero that's, several tiers higher than what you should be expecting. And then the other thing to realize is if you use the Priest, he has an ability that if he gets the kill, he'll automatically spawn some Chaos Spawn for you, and that really allows you to go quite crazy on killing a lot of the neutrals and capturing a lot of territory real quickly, because the Chaos Spawn are actually pretty powerful and resilient. Later in the game, obviously, they become pretty worthless, but especially early on, that's a huge boon to your economy. And then you effectively are getting these free units that you're not having to pay for and waste the turns to generate. Likewise, you can also give people Marks of Chaos, so that allows you to select what kind of abilities you want them to have in terms of bonuses that you can get when you unlock them. And then all of your demon engines effectively will regenerate hit points every turn, and then if they get kills, they can steal health, and so it will not die. And then Veterans of the Long War is an ability that's specifically used against fighting Space Marines. So if you're fighting another Space Marine unit or chapter, then you definitely want to have that, because it increases it reduces your morale loss, and then it also increases your melee accuracy, allowing you to do more damage to the loyalists there. So it's definitely an interesting faction. It has a lot of micromanagement just to kind of get all your stats and things buffed, and they can be pretty expensive, but with that expense, especially if you get a solid economy, these guys become crazy powerful, because you can just stack a bunch of boons on your people, which give them huge buffs, and then you can just go crazy. It's kind of like Tau with their upgrade slots that you can end up putting in. Effectively, it's the same thing here, except you're using it with the Chaos Rights and not the technology upgrade. So I will be playing on the standard difficulty here for my guys, so no advantage or disadvantage. However, our opponents are all going to be on the Impossible difficulty. It's going to be a huge map size. I wish I actually had one that was a little bit bigger than that, just because I like to put so many different factions on. The huge original size worked well when they didn't have all these DLC factions, but now that they keep adding them on, sometimes the huge map still feels pretty small. I have very high land mass, very high game pace, just to kind of increase the speed. I have all the DLC activated. I deactivated the quest because we don't want to do a quest victory. We just want to do a total victory to get the most experience with all of our units here. I tend to, if I'm playing online, I like the spontaneous turns, but when I'm playing single player, I don't, because it just gets to be too much. And then I have everything set to medium here. for the settings, except for wireweed, because that's just obnoxious and the AI gets confused on it, so I turn that to very low. And same with the Imperial Ruins and Forests and River, because I want to be able to just move around the map as fast as possible and not suffer all those movement penalties, because I don't want to drag out the match unnecessarily. But certainly if you're playing online against other players, you'd want to have that at least on medium, because there are strategic plays where you can set your guys up into either the forest or those ruins, and they'll give you pretty heavy defensive bonuses. But for big maps where we're just fighting the AI, the bigger thing is just making sure you can get through the map quickly and just get the kills. So I'm just making sure nothing got reset here, but it should all be on extreme. Yep, extreme. Yep, extreme, 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 and extreme. Yep, so everything's up and running here, so that looks good. So no teams. It's going to be a free-for-all, every faction on the hardest difficulty. So let's see what we can do.
10,000 years we have fought, at Luna, at Terra, at Cadia, beside the false Emperor, beside the War Master, beside the Despoiler. 10,000 years we have been faithful to the Dark Gods, sacrificing our souls, bodies, and machines to them. Yet, the Imperium stands. Now, Cadia has fallen. The Dark Gods have guided us to this Imperial Hive world. Gladius. Whatever is here, we will prove ourselves worthy of it and take it in their name. Glory to the Dark Gods! Death to the false Emperor!
Alright, so it looks like we have a pretty decent start here. I always kind of restart the match so we can start near a corner or in the corner. The reason for that is the AI does rapidly expand, and I don't want to get sandwiched between two impossible AI factions. I can usually fight off one if I'm ready for it and have a good enough economy. And I really like to also start out next to one of these Vol locations here, because that'll increase your research pretty substantially early on, especially on the very hard difficulty. Now I'll still need to move a unit onto the vault to be able to get whatever item or increased technology or resources are in there. Unfortunately, with the spot that we have selected, we also have a bunch of wireweed around our base, so we're going to have to clear that out. So that is a little bit of a hurdle here. But we'll get our guys moved around and see what we can do. Got some freaking hybrids there. They have the Shroud ability on here, so they're suffering 33% range damage. I'll still shoot into them, try to get a model kill to drop the amount of damage they're doing. And then I always like to capture the point around that technology to get the bonus. And I rushed the quarters there. Unfortunately, things weren't syncing up very well, so it was hard to show that. But I like to get that so I can get some heroes going as fast as possible. And then with your Chaos Space Marines there, just like the regular Space Marines, they get double the shots if you're at half range. So they have a range of 2, so if you put them right next to somebody for a range of 1, they get double the amount of shots. So we'll get the Lord's Quarter going here early, and then I'll follow it up with some a power plant there, because then I'll be low. And then I want to go with the fabricator location so I can hopefully focus on getting vehicles going here. Now, unfortunately, they're back into the Shroud here. But I'll run our cultists up here, because then I should be able to get the item or whatever is hidden in the vault here. And what I'm going to do is I actually went back and I have now activated the voices mod, so that way it'll at least talk to us while we are getting new technology going, because it's such a good mod that I wanted to get that going here. And we'll move you up here and get a shot and almost take these guys out.
Captive pens are now available for construction.
So the creator of that mod just did such a good job. So you can see I crossed into that territory there, and now we've got the coat here. the Zode hide. That's actually one of the things I really like because it increases the amount of healing that you're able to do. It like doubles the healing rate and gives you some bonus health. So I'm gonna go with the Master of Possession because if you get kills with him, then you can start summoning a bunch of demon spawn, which is a tier 2 or 3 unit, and then I won't have to worry about creating more infantry, and it'll help me clear out a lot of these units here.
Chaos is our master.
So of course they go back into Shroud again, so we'll move you up to here and attack with the melee because that'll give him some bonus damage there. I gotta be careful because he's got the mind flares or whatever they're called over there, because my Space Marines are injured enough that they could get mind controlled, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to get some extra health, or not health, extra food here because I'm only down to +2, and if I'm going to start spawning in Chaos Spawn, that's going to have food upkeep. And of course I've got a high ore economy with my different building slots here, which will be good for making vehicles, but not so much for going with an infantry base. Honestly, I wonder if I should just pull back at this rate. Yeah, I see my Chaos Space Marines are getting taken out, so I think maybe I just pull back here, and then I can use these guys to clear out the wireweed, and we'll just kind of rally here. And then I can hire another, or hire a Master of Possession. Damn, they're gonna kill my guy.
The Dark Sorcerers of Chaos have pledged their allegiance.
Chaos is our master.
Alright, so let's pull you over to here. Let's pull you over to here. Keep clearing out that wireweed. And now we have 4 turns to get a Master of Possession. And then we'll go back to push. So these are the boons that you can put on your guys, but as I'm not doing an infantry build, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to do that. So I'll rush the loyalty building. So a little bit of a slower start here. They've pushed me back into my corner. But I think I can push back out again. I've got to just keep you there to start healing. Alright, and we got some gauntlets. It's actually a pretty good item, because it increases the armor to my hero. So now I get some bonus health and armor. So those are 2 excellent early game items. So the RNG gods are definitely looking out for us, or I guess in this case it would be the dark gods.
You hear the voices too?
So we'll move over here and clear the rest of that out. There's definitely battles happening around us here.
Meadows of Sorrow are now available for construction.
Of course, Master.
Sorry about that, I had to sneeze. So unfortunately we're running out of population space. We've only gotten, or we have 5 out of 6 right now, so we're going to be maxing out. But now we've got our Master Possession, so I want to get the Possession ability, because this is the one that allows me to summon Chaos Spawns if he gets the last hit. We'll run down here and kind of get an idea of whether this is somebody I want to push or not. I'm not going to be able to support the costs for an additional hero. And it looks like I'm almost out of electricity, so we'll build another power plant. And I built another population center, so now it doubled my population capacity by 6. So the larger of the differential between your population and the max will have an effect on your growth rate. Unfortunately, with those little floating spheres down there, you can only hit them with ranged attacks, and none of my guys have good range attacks, so I'm not going to be able to push down there any further. But the good news is our Chaos Space Marines are back to being full health, so we should be able to start pushing over this way. Move you into the cover. And do a loyalty building here, because I'm only down to 1 loyalty. And as my population gets higher, my loyalty rating will lower. And as you start to get lower loyalty, or, God forbid, negative loyalty, it slows.
Masters of the Soul Forges offer to you their heretical services.
it slows the productivity of your units, and also the amount of loyalty you have will give you either bonuses or penalties to the amount of resources that you generate and how fast your guys build buildings. So now the nice thing about these guys here is they don't do a lot of damage. They are pretty tanky, but it should be pretty easy for us to rush a kill here. And I definitely want to push the Warp Forge, because if I can get that going, that'll increase the building speed, or lower the building speed by 50% for one that you build, if I remember correctly. So just one early on should allow you to build a building in one turn as long as it's not advanced. That looks like a neutral. For a second there, I thought that was captured by somebody. So we'll attack here, and can't quite get the kill there. Now, when you have those items in your inventory, you can just select the screen there, and then you can put it into the inventory for your hero. As you could see, there's 6 slots for each hero that you can put equipment in. And if you select the stuff you don't like and you put it in the inventory, then you can move them over to a Dracaro trading post.
For the dark gods.
And you can just sell it for influence. And so this one I actually wanted to be farther away, because that should lower his health enough that you should be able to finish him. And now because he got the kill, we spawned in some chaos spawns, and you know, they can see they got 36 health and they're melee, so that should be very helpful. And then every turn they get a random, or every turn or every 2 turns, I forget what it is, they get a random mutation, either additional attacks, additional movement, so they're very powerful early on. But it is going to increase our food costs in addition to the food requirements for our population. But they're going to be exceptionally useful for us for going and taking out the neophytes here. Now, unfortunately, it's going to take 4 turns to get ready for the next one to come up here, because it'll get to be a lower turn requirement the more... Yeah, I'm going to have to get some more food here, I think. It'll lower the turn requirement the more levels we put into it, but right now it's a 5-turn cooldown or a 4-turn cooldown, I forget which. But yeah, our economy is not great, but we will build out and see what we can do. Alright, so... if I move you to here, we can have you start working on taking these guys out.
What is thy bidding, Lord?
You can come here and do double bolter attack, and then everybody within 3 squares will get the experience gain. So that infernal power gives you additional attacks, but I'd rather do that for the healing.
Show me the way.
And you can start smacking those guys down, and then you lower their morale when you're closer with his passive ability there with fear. But we want to just weaken them so we can get some more kills with our Master of Possession and keep spawning additional Chaos Boys here.
Warp forges are now available for construction.
And that'll be nice to lower the production costs, or not costs, but production requirements for timing. We've got 2 turns left for you.
The tides of destiny often turn when you least expect it.
Let's bring you up to here to capture that. We'll move them up to get some levels. You know, if you didn't have the Master of Possession going, then you'd probably want to get the kills either with your cultists. We got, I think those are Tau. It could be Admech, but I think it's a Tau. I haven't played this in a while, so I forgot exactly what that barrier is. But definitely want to do this to try to speed up our building requirements. And then we're going to need to have another building here, a dormitory. And then I want to do the Warpborn bolts, because that'll increase the damage of our bolt weaponry, which will directly improve the Chaos Space Marines, and then possibly the cultists, because they have bolt weapons too, if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm not sure about is enslavers, that's what they're called, not mind flayers. That's different game with the mind flayers. Alright, should have healed first and gotten that model back.
We will do it.
Put you there. Yeah, there's definitely battles happening around us. But yeah, the mind flayers is Baldur's Gate, not Warhammer 40,000. Alright, so we've got those units here. Let's start getting some kills going. We'll move you over to here. Let's move you up because your possession is up again. So we'll move you here so you don't get the kill. And now I can feed it to you. And now we've got another chaos spawn. And I can capture the relic. So that's huge, because usually taking out an enslaver location is pretty difficult early in the game here. But as you can see, we're starting to really generate quite a force here if I can keep stacking up these chaos spawn summonings by sacrificing our neutral opponents, and then that should help me run around and get our economy going as well. As you can see, they have pretty substantial movement early on. We'll move you over here.
Chaos is our master.
We'll move these guys closer so they can gain some experience.
Of course, Master.
And then clear that out.
Will serve chaos.
What is thy
And they gained a level, so now they got some extra health. Yeah, that's Tau. Alright, we gotta be careful. We can't advance any further, because what we don't want to do is activate the impossible AI to come after us. So I think what I'm gonna do here is just kind of keep running around the map, trying to get borders to see who's nearby. But I think I'm going to have to start going to the south, because like I said, I don't want to keep pushing to the west here if we're already seeing some Tau movements here. Something's to the south of us.
But a mere sliver of the warp's power.
So that increased the armor penetration. So I can't go south yet, because we just saw something blow up down there. We'll move you up to here. You can get the kill.
dark gods?
Alright, we'll move you here. This is pretty ballsy. We'll get our possession going, so that'll change the cooldown to 3 turns. So let's do that.
Show me the way.
I can start to see another barrier here. I can't tell if that's a city or if it's a
Of course,
point of
Master.
interest. So let's just keep you with our other guys here. And now we're on to tier 5. So infantry armor could be good, although getting an increased radius to our cities is probably a reasonable thing to do, because we're getting pretty close with our expansion here. And that's going to be 5 turns to get that going. So yeah, when you're trying to figure out who's next to you, try to look at the barriers of these points of interest, because each one has unique identifiers, and then you can tell even if you haven't discovered what faction it is yet. So I think what I'm going to do is just come back this way, because I really don't want to activate the Tau yet, because they are probably the worst faction for us to be fighting early on, because they can just summon so many guys
We go.
with all their damn drones. So we'll start going to the south here and trying to cut this corner and see what we can find. And we only have one more population capacity, so we'll get that going. And then the question is do I want to build more farms for food, or do I want to start getting an ore economy going? I guess I can do the ore economy because I don't have a lot of other things.
What is your intent?
Let's see, he still has 2 turns until he's ready to summon another chaos spawn. Now the one bad thing about these guys is in exchange for healing they do damage to themselves, so if you get 2 Masters of Possession then they can sit there and heal each other. But if you have just one, then you can end up taking quite a bit of damage.
We are Legion.
Do you hear
Let's
the
get you
voices
there.
too?
Bring you here to capture this. Start working on these hounds. Kill him. And we're slowly leveling. So that's what those numbers are. So we've got level 2s and 3s over there. And that compares to the Impossible AI, which starts at level 5 for any unit that they summon or create, whether it be infantry or vehicles, and all their cities, I think, start out at level 5 too, which gives them significant damage and HP buffs, which can definitely be pretty frustrating. Well, that was some pretty big damage that they did to us there. We got Castellans down here too. I am not going to be strong enough to take those guys out. Let's go here.
Of course, Master.
You're going to be too strong. Well, I guess what I'll do is I'll heal our Chaos Spawn, and then you can come over here and kill him. Ideally, I would have liked the Summoner to get that kill to get another Chaos Spawn going. But those Castellans are going to be very difficult to get past, because they're considered vehicles. There's usually a Tech Priest nearby that can heal them. And there's rarely just one. It's usually a squad of them, like 3 or 4. Well, sometimes 2, but either way, they're very dangerous because they can reflect damage back to you. They have a damage mitigation. See, there's the Tech Priest right there. Now let's bring you over here. Have you start attacking these guys. What I want to know is if I attack with you, will this summon? Does this count as a kill? Even though it's a building? It sure does. Alright, well, it's mine now. Let's capture that. Alright, and I think we said we were going to do ore. Yeah, plus 40% there, so we'll do that. And then we'll come up here and probably take over that location. However, in one turn, we're going to get our Call of the Dark Gods going, which will give me an additional area tile of acquisition radius for our cities there, so maybe it'll be a more attractive spot for us. But as you can see, he can heal, he can capture. Well, I guess they call it the Cybernetica Datasmith, not a Tech Priest, but that's effectively what it is.
The whispers of chaos will spread far and wide.
What do you require?
Alright, so we've got this guy here. Part of me wants to start another city, because if I do that, then I can start getting a bunch of research going here. It's going to affect my loyalty. If I put it in between, I can capture both of these locations. If I bring you up to here, I can't remember if I get 2 or 3 tile acquisitions with Chaos. That's too close to the other city. If I bring it here, that'll be close enough, then I can capture both of those other locations. I think that's what I want to do. So we'll start getting another city going. I'll leave you there to heal while we're waiting for his abilities to get off a cooldown. You can stay there to heal. And I think we should probably go with extra infantry armor since we're doing an infantry-based army right now.
What do you require?
Alright, next turn we should found a city. On the impossible difficulty, you suffer some pretty major loyalty penalties for every city that you found, so then you have to spend a bunch of turns building loyalty centers to get them up and running.
You seek my counsel.
Let's attack here, I guess. and start running you over here.
Cautious of prophecy.
And for our tile acquisition, looks like we have several ore options here. Alright, we got that. And then we'll start making our way over towards that research. I assume we just go out to 2 tiles. If it's 3 tiles, then I have a overlapping of locations there, which is unfortunate for not min-maxing our situation. Although I'm also pretty high in the corner on our first city, which is also limiting our expansion if we do have access to a 3rd tile. I can't remember how big their cities are.
What is thy bidding, Lord?
If you watched my last playthrough with the Ultima founding, you saw the Space Marines and how large their cities can get. That's an anomaly because they only have the one single city, whereas everybody else can found cities. So we can do that to be able to get that bonus. And then we'll come up to here and then take that other location probably. Although maybe I want to start getting that going so I can build things a lot faster. And so you can see I've got -4 loyalty because I founded that other city. So we'll do that to start getting our loyalty up, and then we'll build a dormitory to help us get more population. And then we're probably going to need some electricity and things, so we'll build another regular spot. Because effectively our first city is going to have to subsidize the second city until it's up and running. But we got a nice little corner of the map going for ourselves right now. Definitely a much, much better start than we had with our Space Marines, because we were really just kind of kept hidden in the corner and a very, very slow start, whereas at least with this we're able to be advancing pretty aggressively here. Alright, we got 2 turns until they're ready.
What is your
If I attack with them, then they're not going to be able to
cry for mercy?
heal, but I'd rather lock them in because I might be able to just kill this guy and summon another demon spawn. And just continue our push here. There's definitely lots of battles happening. You can hear it in the background. Yeah, it sounds like there's some battles over to my left here. I think that's a city up there.
Adorn your warriors with the unholy armor of chaos. What is your
We still have one more turn. I thought you were done on your cooldown. Well, let's start killing some of these guys, I guess. Because I can use the experience. Oh, dang it. So that orange line there means it's a cliff, so that's why I can't attack, is because it's considered an obstacle, so melee obviously can't attack over the cliff there. But as you can see, we're slowly leveling ourselves up here. Bring you up to here, and I suppose I can just kill the gate next turn. That, since we know that counts as killing a regular unit. That decreases the cost of founding another city. I guess it's a little late for that. But if we do the conjoined weaponry, that'll increase the damage our units are doing. Yeah, it sounds...
Oh, such a pity. Though there was glory in your deaths, little priests, we could have been so much more together. A dark mechanicum standing with us in the Dark Imperium. Warpsmiths and heretics and xenorites and savants. New discoveries in the name of our masters in the Immaterium. But you spurned our gift and foolishly fought to the last. And so now, That dream is dust.
Alright, well I'm going to call it quits here for the day. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please give my channel a like and subscribe. Encourage me to post more content for you. Have a great day.